Muy buenas a todos. Hoy vamos a jugar a un juego que mi padre me bajó. Que lo voy a probar a ver si estaba en el Steam, dije mi papi. Pero vamos a probarlo. A ver. Ya está. Eso es cierto. Bueno, pero no se juega. A ver, veamos qué tal está. A ver. Vale. Lo cierto, creo que deberían de ver los anteriores capítulos de Gran Bellas porque están súper locochones y le va a dar risa. Nah. Acá está. ¿Qué? Ahí está. Lo siento por eso. A ver, aquí vamos. No sé qué pasó, pero es que se estaba cargando.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee
Yo no
number
sé inglés,
427's
así que
job was simple. He
ustedes
sat
van a
at his
saber.
desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did.
Parece que
every
somos
day,
unos señores que están
every month,
programando
of every year.
programando
And
algo
although others might have considered it soul
que
breaking,
no sé
Stanley
qué es.
relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made
Whoa.
exactly for this job.
¿Estamos encerrados o qué?
Stanley was
No hay
happy.
nada a nuestro alrededor. Aquí.
And then one day, something
pasa?
very
¿Qué pasa?
peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete
Parece que no hay
isolation.
nadie con
Something
nosotros.
was very clearly wrong.
Oh, sí.
Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Bien, con uno, con esto voy para atrás.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Qué extraño.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
¿Qué pasa aquí? No puedo poner nada aquí. Ah, esto sí lo puedo abrir. Esta no.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Creo que escogí la incorrecta. O no sé. Espero que... Ay, pensé que me iba a dar un susto.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
¿Será acá? Nada. Debo abrir algo o algo así. Creo que no hay nada.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
¿No me puedo agachar?
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Ustedes elijan aquí si eligen escape o control de la mente. Es un juego que decididamente yo escogería, pues no voy a ver primero. No sé si control de la mente o escape. Uy, es un difícil camino, ¿no creen? Mejor me voy a descargar. Oye, es que se me hace mucha curiosidad.
Although this passageway had the word
creo que voy a ver
escape
qué
written on
es
it,
dentro de
the
la
truth
mente
was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Dice el narrador, y a pesar de que este pasillo decía escape, en realidad Stanley conocerá de su muerte al final del pasillo. Su violenta muerte. Pero esta mentira es como así como portal. De esas dos.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
Dice, pero Stanley lo pensó bien y decidió que tenía mucho por qué vivir.
Voy a ver qué pasa. A ver qué pasa. Ay, hay una cámara. ¿Qué es eso?
Tenemos como puertas. Tienes que pensar mucho para...
No. Creo que vi algo allá que me va a matar. En vez de... Ay, no.
Nope, still on board with death?
A ver si no es cierto lo que dijo. A ver.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Estaba pensando realmente si regresar o cómo hacer su muerte.
A ver, creo que se voy a morir si voy para allá. A ver, creo que luego lo pienso para ir por este camino porque tengo miedo que me dé una sorpresa y se me pare mucho el corazón. Ay, mejor prefiero ver qué pasa si me voy a ese de completamente. Luego puedo hacerlo de nuevo. Ay, tengo miedo. Ay. Oh my god. A ver, ¿qué hay allá? Hay algo allá que no creo que sea. Mejor no. Ay, es que... Ni modo. Ya decidí entonces. Ya, voy a irme por aquí, aunque me salga un alien o lo que sea que sea. Y luego lo pienso mejor. Si me matan aquí en este camino, me voy a ir por el otro entonces. ¡Corre, mono! ¡Ay, no quiero ver! ¿Estamos cerca o qué? ¡Ay, sí da miedo! ¡Ay, no quiero ver! ¡Sí! Creo que si me iba por el otro lado se iba a morir. Pero qué bueno que me fui por el camino de escape. ¡Ah! No me digan. ¡Ay!
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his day would have been a great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his own shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Como que algo pasó, alguien paró el tiempo. ¿Qué?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
¿Me acabo de salvar una máquina o qué? Ay, espero que le toque la misma suerte.
When every
Me
path
dio
you can walk has been created
susto de
for you
verdad.
long in advance, death becomes meaningless. making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
O me morí y me fui al cielo. ¿En serio? No, la 2 no. La 2 tampoco. Mira. ¿Qué pasa? A ver, veamos. ¿Y ese camino para qué será? Me asusté. A ver. Qué extraño. Ay, estoy muy asustadiza yo. A ver, no, botones no, botones no. Ajá. Éxito, me voy por acá. Creo que esto ya solo muestra. Me voy por el éxito. Vamos por allá.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
¿Qué pasa si voy por aquí? ¿Qué le picaré?
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now will be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
¡Oh, no! ¿Por qué no dijiste a dónde está? ¡Rayos! ¿Y qué pasó? No, no puede ser. No puede ser. No. Bueno, a ver, no tengo preocupación.
All of his
Derecho.
co-workers were gone.
Derecho,
What could it
derecho.
mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
A ver si me voy por este camino. Sí. Vuelvo a...
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Esa señora estuvo más loca que todo. No voy a control de la mente. Ustedes prefieren.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large
No
door
voy a control de la
that read
mente,
Mind
mejor.
Control
A ver
Facility.
qué me pasa. Creo que mejor no me voy a ¿Qué vamos a ver aquí?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with
Creo que
television
mejor no me hubiera ido a
screens.
control de la
What
mente.
horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself.
Ah.
Did he have the strength to find out?
Entonces este no era malo. No era malo.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen.
Puedo ver
And Stanley,
todo.
eternally
Creo
wanted
que se
in
hubiera
this place
preferido
where
este.
freedom meant nothing.
Creo que se hubiera preferido este.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
A ver, veamos. ¿Qué pasa si pico? Nada. Voy a probar todo porque yo no entiendo inglés, pero no sé cómo entendí todo. A ver, voy a bajar a ver qué pasa. ¿Qué les parece? Nada. Entonces por la puerta de allá. A ver si no pasa nada. ¿Qué pasa aquí? ¿Esto? Vamos a ver qué va a pasar.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power,
What? Déjenla. ¡Ah! Creo que no debería apagarlo. Ah, no puedo creerlo.
blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed
Creo
into
que
the
sería
chamber,
mejor que
he
vinieran a
realized
ese lugar de
none of this
control de la
mattered to
mente,
him,
creo.
for it
O
was
esto
not
es una
knowledge or
patraña.
even power that he had been seeking, but happiness.
Ah, son escaleras.
Perhaps his goal had not been to
No puedo
understand,
creerlo, por fin
but to
salí.
let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Todavía no. ¿Qué? Oh, no me digan que me dieron control de la mente.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow, yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach...
¿Qué es esto?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pouring the bread out of the oven. Oh, right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you?
Okay.
I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Presiona X.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Voy a probar todos los botones. Presiona H.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life. But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls, and down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions, and down another was a game with a baby, and he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
¿Qué está pasando aquí?
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can you just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time you'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué va a pasar? ¿Qué está pasando aquí? ¿Otra?
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Estoy dando vueltas sobre...
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
A ver, llevamos un montón de tiempo.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ay, a ver si sale esta mejor. Ya sé que la otra vez pasó eso. Ay. qué fuerte el sonido, eso creo.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Yo ya estaba muerta. ¿Qué es esto? Oh, no, ni siquiera no. Pero sí me da miedo. Que sí da miedo, pero no es de medio. No. Estoy dando vueltas. Ya había pasado por aquí, ¿no? ¿Qué es? Fue imaginación, ahorita lo he prendido. Me voy a ir para acá entonces.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Si me vuelven a matar ya.
Perhaps
Me
not.
rindo.
Sometimes these things cannot be seen.
Pero si no, pues hasta el siguiente capítulo.
But listen to me.
No.
You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way.
No, me rindo. Ay. Bueno, adiós. Creo que voy a intentar buscar la forma de ganar. Creo que todo esto es todo. Lo de todo, nomás que no hay ninguna opción buena. O sea, la una o la otra. ¿Quién sabe? Pero bueno, adiós, hasta que resuelva lo volverás a grabar. Así que, bye.